Hey, I'm Sean, Head of Partnerships at Jargon. Today I'm going to show you how to personalize your messages by adding variety to your responses and adding individual components to each variant that you have within a response. So let me go ahead and show you an example that I have here, which is a response to the user when the user asks to close a support ticket. So when I've clicked on this response, you can see a menu of all of the different variants and components that I have within this specific response. And Jargon packages up and stitches together all of the different components and sends it back to your application when triggered by this application label here in your code. So you can see here that I have two variants that have no conditions, which means that Jargon will randomly select one of these and send it back to your application. And I can add additional variants to sound a bit more natural and a little bit less robotic. But let's say that I have a specific scenario where I want to use this variant for this specific situation. So, for example, let's say I have a web channel and a Slack channel that I have for my bot. Well, for the web channel, I know that I can use Rasa buttons. So I want to specifically have a variant that's for that web channel. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say I want the text component and the Rasa buttons component. And I'm going to say select this response when it's coming from the web channel. So I'll call this the web channel, apply this condition. And you can add other conditions based on the platform that you're running, based on the channel, and custom conditions. So for example, if it's a first-time user and you want a specific response for that group versus a returning user, you can go ahead and apply these conditions here. So I'll add this variant. And now for variant 3, this is going to be selected if the user comes to my application through the web channel. So I can come in and I can edit this text and I can tailor it specifically for that situation. So here, instead of thank you for contacting us, I could say, is there anything else I can help you with? Because I know that I'm going to have buttons underneath this that will provide the options for the customer. So let's add another condition, and let's say that this is if the user is coming to us through Alexa. And now this will be slightly different because this will be a speech component. There's no text version for Alexa. And I'm going to apply based on the platform, Alexa, and add this variant. So now when I go into this variant, I can tailor the message knowing that this is going to be delivered audibly instead of through text. So I'm going to take out this long number here, and I'm just going to say, okay, I'll close the ticket for you. And I can also mark it up with SSML tags and simulate to make sure that it sounds right. So now I've shown you how to add variety through unconditional variants and tailor the specific responses by adding different components through conditional variants. Now let's say that I want to add a bit of variety within the response. So instead of selecting a completely different response, within the response, I want to add variety to a few different sentences, for example. So let's come down to the speech component, and this is where I can utilize strings. So let's say for this, I actually want to add variety by saying, okay, choose from a number of different variants of this phrase right here. So I'll come down and I'll select the farewell string that I have. And now strings can serve a few different purposes. One, if your response structure doesn't match the structure that we have here, you can essentially slice out a chunk of content that your application can call directly without having to fetch it within a response. And then the second use case for strings is when you want to add variety within a specific response. So in this example here, we have a couple different ways of saying congrats that I can put in here. and a couple different ways of prompting the user if they'd like another one. And so it'll randomly select each of these components and fill it into the response. So let's grab this farewell string here by just deleting this and inserting the farewell string. So now instead of me having to spell out the different conditions for selecting this variety within the response, Jargon will go ahead and do that for me. So there you go. I've shown you how to structure a response that has multiple variants, both random and conditional. And I've shown you how to select the different components within a variant and the different components that are structured based on platform. And I've also shown you how to add a little bit more variety within your responses using strings. Thanks very much. Go ahead and check out the rest of our tutorial videos to check out other functionality at Jargon. Thank you.